Hello everybody, so Seither here with another Age of Empires 4 interview. Of course, this is part of a series of interviews that I'm doing with people from all over the RTS world, from people from the StarCraft 2 scene, people from Age of Empires 2 scene, people from Age of Mythology scene. So everybody's here, everybody wants to talk about their experiences, where they're coming from, what are the sort of things that they are going to be doing when Age of Empires 4 releases and when we approach Genesis, the first major tournament in the scene. So for this particular interview, I'm going to be talking with Seither, and I think it's best if he introduces himself. So
my name's Seither, obviously. I started playing RTS when I was probably 5 or 6, with Age of Empires 2 as one of my first games. And then from there, it was like Command & Conquer, Red Alert 2, and Warcraft 3, Company Heroes, Dawn of War. I think I pretty much played at every game. Also lots of Call of Duty and stuff. And then in 2010, when StarCraft 2 came out, I was a bit older then, and it was like my first competitive game. You know, I started off as this little bronze noob, and then watched the pro players play, copied the strats, and figured it out. And eventually I chose to become a Terran player, which is arguably a mistake, but... But then, when the first StarCraft expansion came out, I took a break from playing for a couple of years to do some other stuff. And then I came back in late 2015 when it was the swap over to the Legacy of the Void expansion, and I was able to make a breakthrough in the local competitive scene then. And then from there, 2016, 2017, 2018, I played lots of local tournaments and also went to a few international DreamHacks and the sorts, able to qualify them. Then I sort of got a bit bored of StarCraft, I'd say, and I sort of got to the point where I was like really top of the region, but then I couldn't make a breakthrough on the international tournaments. I felt like I needed to like go international if I wanted to get like a training career or something to get better. I was also a bit sick of the game, so I didn't have like the drive to do that. For the last few years, I've just continued competing locally, but just on a more for fun level. And yeah, I'm sort of hungry for a new RTS, so I'm excited for Age of Empires.
So beyond it being a new RTS after such a long time, or at least a major RTS from a renowned franchise, what are some of the things in-game wise, mechanic wise, that are making make you feel like, hey, I want to try Age of Empires 4, I want to give it a good old, just let's see where it takes me. What are some of those things that are driving you to it?
So initially, I just want a new RTS, because I haven't played one in a long time, and StarCraft's getting a bit old. And then, because the last time I played Age of Empires was just a kid, so when I was playing the beta, what caught me was like, playing the economy in Age of Empires is quite different. Well, the builds are quite interesting to figure out. And I guess I would also say as negatives is, I feel like it's not as clean a game as StarCraft, with the hotkeys and like the unit control and stuff. I'm sort of just going to play it for a bit and see how it goes.
Do you think that your experience in what I think most people would agree is a more established and more well-known competitive scene as is StarCraft 2, do you think that gives you some sort of advantage going into this new scene for Age of Empires 4? Or is it just a case that like some things will translate, others not so much? Or do you feel much more confident in your ability because of that experience?
I think definitely playing a game competitively for so long gives you a good like baseline to be good at a new game. I don't think learning the new economy and stuff has been too difficult compared to, at least how I went in the beta compared to other Age of Empires players. I mean, it's sort of a little bit different of a game though. It's not as hardcore mechanics and like super twitch like StarCraft. You just die to stuff really quickly. I don't know how the other top players will go. I don't know, I sort of rambled a bit there.
And what is, you talked about the open beta. Have you played the closed beta?
Yeah, I played a lot of the closed beta. It was good fun.
So what made you play a lot of the closed beta? Was it just a case of like, it's a new RTS and I'm kind of a little bit addicted to it for like the week that I had to play with the closed beta? Or, you know, did it click at one point and you thought, oh hey, this is an RTS game that I will like to play because something mechanically or conceptually is kind of vibing with me? What was the thing that made you play so much of it?
Well, initially me and my other StarCraft buddies, we're all like really hyped for a new RTS, so we've been hyping up Age of Empires like soon, it's coming soon. And then, yeah, so the beta came out, we all hopped on it, and then I just had a lot of fun figuring out the new strategies and just playing it heaps.
So funnily enough, an hour ago I just finished interviewing Azure, and yesterday for me, I believe today for you guys in Australia, I interviewed Hut. So, you know, I got to talk with all of you back to back to back, and the major through line that I'm getting is that you are all really close together, you're all gonna be practicing, you're all gonna be talking about theory crafting, and I wanna get from your side of the thing if that is something that you are gonna be prioritizing individually going into Genesis. Like, is this support network between you guys as StarCraft 2 and Australian players so fundamental to becoming better at the game, or is it just a nice bonus? Like, are you going to be relying on that network?
We're very close friends. We're definitely all going to be grinding a lot of customs together and trying to figure out the dirty strats, give them to ourselves, I reckon.
Is that sort of grinding the thing that you're going to be focusing on when the game releases, or is just the general grind of, well, I need to get into the ladder to get the better seeding for the tournament?
I think we can do both, to be honest. Like, we'll probably read all the patch notes together and talk about what we think like the best factions are, and then we'll probably start playing customs with each other and figuring out stuff, and then, you know, take it to ladder and see how it goes versus the other people, which, you know, serves both purposes. Then we get the seeds and some secret training.
Have you tried to talk with anybody from sort of the other side of the aisle, the people that are coming from places like Age of Empires 2, Age of Empires 3, online, mythology? Has there been an attempt to like bridge that gap in knowledge from the people that have the franchise knowledge of the game versus you guys who have a more like RTS, StarCraft 2 sort of background? Has there been an attempt there?
I haven't had any deep conversations with any of the other guys, but we have like, I've just met them a little bit on like Twitch chats, and people like say, oh, the Holy Roman Empire is the best, or this, and like kind of interesting because like me and Hut had played a lot of customs. We're like, you cannot stop this Ram Ranch with the fast expand in this matchup, and these other guys are saying you kind of like, do they know something we don't, or like, are we ahead of them better? It's like kind of interesting.
Do you think that could lead to some interesting like divided meta in the tournament from the matches that we're gonna see, or do you think, you know, even though it is a short event overall, that one meta is gonna kind of show up and it's gonna be the dominant one, or do you expect to see like a couple of things that are gonna be strong?
I think the first qualifier being heavily best of ones, and like everyone's gonna have their own little practice groups and sort of doing what they think's the best. So I think it's gonna be like really messy in how that goes out. Like some dudes figured out this guitar rush build or whatever it so be, and it just completely beats another set of players' style, so they'll get really far. But then I think when it comes to the final playoffs in the round of 8, because you'll have another week to have seen what X dude's doing, because you're gonna study him, and then it's, I think, best of 5s or whatever it is. I think the better player then will come out on top, probably.
Do you think your sort of Ram Ranch strat and stuff like that, those sort of all-in, or, you know, I suppose we could call it cheesy. We haven't seen completely cheesy strat yet, I don't think. But like, do you think those sort of strategies are gonna be enough when it comes to the qualifier, or are you expecting to say something like, well, I know that I can pull out the Ram Ranch if I need to, but I should probably go for a build order that looks a little bit more sane? What is your thought there?
So where I was at in the closed beta was you could only do the Ram Ranch with certain factions that had like the Abyssins had the free technology, or other people had early production like Council Hall for the English, and you could only do it by someone if you scout them going for a fast expand. I didn't get to fully test it. I don't think it works versus the English either, so it's a very like reactive strat for only certain matchups. And the other thing that might just stop it, so well, first off, I don't think you can rely on that because they have to be a greedy build, so I will need to have like a standard straight up build to carry me through if that doesn't happen. And then also, what was I saying? In the patch notes for the closed beta, but this didn't have an effect in the game, is that the TC is meant to have more health and they're meant to be able to target fire units, because right now they automatically target fire the ram, so that could actually nullify the ram range quite a lot altogether.
So if you had to think about the sort of standard build order that you would go for, I know that by the end of the open stress test period, there was this conversation about like whether or not you should go to 1 TC or 2 TCs and that sort of idea. Where do you think things are gonna fall, you know, early into the game? Do you think that 2 TC is the way to go for the most part, or do you think a 1 TC and going really heavy on the pressure will be the kind of standard thing that most people will do?
I think that if the ram ranch strats are nerfed a little bit with the changes that it looked like they wanted to do, the game will probably start going towards 2 TC, and then because it's so easy to scout, people will scout it and then go, I'm going to go 3 TC, and then you're sort of in like a TC race war. Which is why I also recommended they should move TCs to the Castle Age possibly, because I think it gets a little bit silly then. You get like the Abbasids with their half worker costs and stuff, and they'll just be really strong, I think.
Right. And now going into Genesis proper, where do you think you would be happy finishing at the tournament? Because like I asked Hut, I asked Azure, they both told me, you know, qualifying would be super happy. Hut told me top 64 and he would be happy. Obviously winning it is the best result possible, right? But for the first major tournament on a game that you're only gonna have like a week and a half to play, what position do you feel confident that, hey, if I get here, I think I'm good?
I'll be really happy if I can make the top 8, but at least getting into the money in the top 16 would be good, I think. Because like you said, like it's gonna be best of ones a lot. It's gonna be very easy to just get knocked out by some random strategy you haven't played yet or thought about. So, don't want to be too hard on yourself if that happens to you, I think.
So who do you think, and I'm gonna ask you for a name first, but if you can't come up with any, that's fine. You can tell me a category of game, right? But who do you think has the best chance of getting that final spot of finishing first?
I'm gonna back us StarCraft people. I mean, we did have Lucifron finishing at the top of the ladder, and he was pretty, like, he had pretty tight play, I thought, in the closed beta. That's assuming that all the Age of Empires 2 people are focusing on the that other big tournament that's going on, which I think they will.
So do you think, this is interesting because it's been 3 interviews deep now that you guys at the StarCraft side of things have been mentioning Age of Empires 2 players as sort of the major threat to look out for. And then I mean threat, I mean competitors, right? But I've also been having conversations with Age of Empires Online and Age of Mythology players who also had really good results in places like the closed beta and in the open stress test. Is there a particular reason that, you know, you guys in StarCraft are not necessarily overlooking, but not mentioning these other Age of Empires game players? Is it just that you haven't seen much of them, or that because their scenes are rather small that you don't think they have that competitive sort of drive, or whatever you want to call it? Or is it just like what's going on there that other Age of Empires games are not getting mentioned? What do you think happens there?
I mean, I think they're actually quite good, a few of them. It's just that when I looked at the top 25 list, there was more StarCraft 2 people. So if I'm going to pick a winner, it's going to be, like, if I assume everyone's roughly equalish, maybe one or two a bit better, but like more chance of StarCraft guy will win. And then if the age group plus 2 people aren't focusing on it, then it kind of discounts them as well.
Right. And looking forward, looking past Genesis, let's say that there are other major tournaments coming in, you know, kind of in the same way that Age of Empires 2 works, which is every couple of months there is another major, right? Do you see yourself putting in a lot of time into Age of Empires 4, even if you're not having, you know, win after win after win, maybe you're just having top 16s or top 8 finishes? Do you see yourself putting a considerable amount of time into becoming a highly competitive player in this scene? Or is it just a case of like, this is an interesting new RTS, I kind of like playing, I'm gonna play it for like a couple of months, enter into some tournaments and see where it goes? Where do you see yourself and your commitment to the competitive scene right now?
I'll say, like, I don't know how the game's going to end up as a fun competitive game. I mean, no one does yet. No one knows how much tournament organizers are going to invest. So I think I'll probably play pretty hard for a month or two, and then, you know, assess how it's going from there.
Right. And in that month or two that you're going to be playing, where can people see you play? Are you going to be streaming? Are you going to be talking about it in like Twitter or something? Like, this is your shadowed space.
Yeah, I reckon I was having a little stream on the it was only in the stress test beta, because we couldn't stream the closed one. That was fun, so I reckon I'll try streaming it like from release and all through that week, probably.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Seither, for taking the time to talk with me. I really do appreciate it, and I hope all of you people in the audience also liked the interview. Of course, if you want to see more of these type of interviews, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate those. You can also leave a like and comment. And if you want more information on Seither himself, you can check the links in the description. If you want more information on Genesis, you can also check the information in the description. But that is all for this interview. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll continue to put them out every day. So there you go. See you around.